September 13th, 1922. New York City. A man is walking to work when a teenager sprints up, knocks the hat off his head, and stomps it flat. Then it happens to the next man, and the next. By nightfall, gangs of youths are roaming Manhattan, destroying every straw hat they can reach. This was not a crime wave. Technically, it was a fashion deadline. This is Oops History. True stories that sound fake. Today, the straw hat riot. Quick scene setting. It's 1922. New York is the biggest city in America. Jazz is brand new, and men's fashion is governed by unwritten rules with the force of religion. The biggest rule of all, men wore straw boater hats all summer, but after September 15th, straw season was over. You switched to a felt hat. No exceptions. The deadline even had a name, Felt Hat Day. That is how seriously this was taken. The cutoff had branding. Nobody wrote the rule down. Nobody voted on it. It was simply understood, the way gravity is understood. And the penalty for breaking it was oddly specific. Wear straw past the deadline, and tradition allowed any passing stranger to knock the hat off your head and stomp it into the pavement. For context, a straw boater cost around $2 to $3, a full day's wages for many workers, destroyed on site, with society's blessing. Now, September 1922, a group of Manhattan youths looked at the calendar, saw the deadline was still 2 days away, and made an executive decision. Why wait? On September 13th, they started early, smashing hats around Mulberry Bend. Which brings us to their one crucial mistake. They smashed the hats of dockworkers. And dockworkers, it turns out, do not recognize hat law. The dockworkers fought back. Hard. These were men who moved cargo for a living, and they treated hat season as extremely negotiable. The brawl grew until it spilled onto the Manhattan Bridge and stopped traffic. Grown men and teenagers fighting over headwear while the city honked. Police had to wade in and break it up. The next morning, New Yorkers read all about the hat war in the papers, and the city's teenagers appear to have treated the coverage as a recruitment ad. For roughly 3 days, the smashing spread across the city. Gangs armed themselves with sticks, some, according to reports, with nails driven through the ends. On Amsterdam Avenue, a mob estimated in the hundreds formed what was essentially a hat-destroying gauntlet. Men who resisted were beaten. Several were hurt badly enough to be hospitalized for wearing a summer accessory slightly late. The police were overwhelmed, partly by the sheer scale of it, and partly, one suspects, because in earlier years, some officers had reportedly joined the hat smashing themselves. It is hard to police a tradition you personally enjoy. Then came the arrests. Many of those hauled in were teenagers. Some participants were as young as 10 years old. A few were fined $5 each, roughly 2 hats worth of damage. In at least one case, the rioter's mother showed up and paid it for him. Which means somewhere in the court records of 1922, there is a mom bailing her son out of a fashion riot. Ordinary New Yorkers adapted the only rational way. Many simply retired their straw hats early. The mob had, in effect, moved the deadline. Here's the uncomfortable part. 1922 was not a one-off. The hat-smashing tradition rolled on through the decade, and in 1924 it turned genuinely dark. A man was actually murdered for wearing a straw hat. That is the moment a quirky custom stops being quirky. No joke attached to that one. So how did it end? Not through law, not through policing, not through anyone learning anything at all. Straw boaters simply went out of fashion. No hats, no hat riots. The mob never lost. It just lost interest. Time for the damage report. Riot duration, roughly 3 days. Hats destroyed, hundreds, minimum. Men hospitalized, several. Arrests, dozens of teens, some aged 10. Standard fine, $5, payable by your mother. Police response, overwhelmed, and historically complicit. The rule behind all of it, never written down anywhere. So if you're wearing something out of season right now, congratulations on surviving your commute. Subscribe. There is unfortunately plenty more where this came from.